most importantly, a food that makes you confused. You don't get it. There's our screen grab, by the way.
Good. How about blue cheese?
No, I do like blue cheese.
Oh,
Sorry.
why?
I like the fragrance, the odor, the
Oh,
strength, the
oh,
mold.
oh,
Yeah, I like eating mold. That's my thing.
that's what it is.
Don't ruin this for me, Amanda.
Ah, it would be like eating poop for me. I just don't get it.
Prepare your ears, humans. Happy, sad, confused begins now.
Hey guys, it's Josh with another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused, and a first-time guest on the podcast today. Amanda Seyfried joins me, the very talented Academy Award nominee, Emmy-winning star of Mamma Mia, of Mank, and of course her new series that she was on to promote today, Long Bright River. Amanda Seyfried, the main event on Happy, Sad, Confused today. It's a fun one. Uh, the usual hellos, reminders to all of you folks. If you're new to Happy, Sad, Confused, where have you been? We've been doing this for 11 years. We do one or two of these a week with the best in the business, actors, filmmakers. We try to deliver great conversations week in and week out. I hope you guys enjoy what I do. If you haven't subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, do me a favor, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see more of what we do, go over to Patreon, patreon.com/happy, sad, confused, early access, merch, autograph posters, all the cool bits and bobs. That's where you'll find all the information about everything that I do over there. Reminders, lots of events coming up. I'm going to run it down very quickly. If you do want to see me in person, there are a lot of opportunities. March 20th, New York City, and all this, by the way, all this information is in the show notes. March 20th, New York City, Nathan Lane, icon of stage and screen, Symphony Space, New York City. April 6th, in Miami, Florida, at the Miami Film Festival, we're screening Another Simple Favor. Yes, the sequel to A Simple Favor, followed by a live Happy Sad Confused event with Paul Feig. That's going to be fun. And speaking of fun, April 12th, if you happen to be near or around Chicago, come on out to C2E2. This is the big kind of like New York. It's the same folks that do New York Comic Con, big convention. And as if you needed a reason, I'm going to give you four. In one day, I'm going to be moderating conversations with John Boyega, Peter Weller, Nancy Travis, if you're a RoboCop fan, some of the stars of Once Upon a Time, and a reunion of The Breakfast Club, the entire main cast, all five of them together in one room, which has happened like almost never. And it's, by the way, it's the 40th anniversary of The Breakfast Club. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm excited. Okay, so that's the way to see me live. Information in the show notes. You know what to do. All right, back to Amanda Seyfried. Main event coming up at you right now. We all know and love Amanda Seyfried. She's never done the podcast, which was surprising, but not only a great actor, but a really unique, fun person to talk to. And I've always experienced that just doing the small things I've done with her over the years. But it was a real treat to get the extended chat today. Of course, she came to prominence in Mean Girls over 20 years ago now. Crazy. And I love that she loves Mean Girls still and loves that experience and loves what it has become. We talk about that. And also her journey through, mixing up her career right from the start, doing dramas, doing musicals, of course, the phenomenally successful Mamma Mia films and Les Mis. We talk about some of the auditions, the famous parts that she almost did. Did you know that she was in fact offered to play the Zoe Saldana character in Guardians of the Galaxy? Yeah, she was almost Gamora. And other really interesting stories from her. She's very candid about kind of the roads almost traveled and how she's cool with where it all ended up. And she should be because she has done so much work, especially in recent years, by the way, winning the Emmy for The Dropout, amazing as Elizabeth Holmes, getting the Academy Award nominations in David Fincher's Mank, and now front and center as a cop in Long Bright River. Truly a change of pace for her, but again, expect the unexpected with Amanda Seyfried. She does like to mix it up. This is a new series on Peacock. It's tough stuff, but stuff worth watching. It's a cop show, but also kind of a portrait of the opioid crisis that we're all, living through, particularly in America. And as always, Amanda delivers a fantastic performance. So this is a fun one. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. Here is me and the one and only Amanda Seyfried. Enjoy. Amanda Seyfried, you're on the podcast. We've never done this. We've never done the official podcast. How is this possible?
Actually true. Yeah, because I've never seen you in your house.
Welcome.
And
Someday in person, but for now, this will have to do.
there's always red curtains around you, right?
I try to keep curtains around me at all times, but
I
today
don't
for
know why.
you,
I don't know. I don't know
that's
why.
Twin Peaks. We're gonna get to Twin Peaks. You're thinking of the Red Room. Congratulations on all things. We're going to talk along Bright River, and since we have the luxury of time, a whole other host of things. But yeah, it's good to see you as always. Congrats. First of all, a lot of good things the last few years in your career. When did you know you made it? When you got the Emmy love, the Oscar nom, or when people stopped butchering your last name? What's the marker?
The butchering is still
It's still
happening,
going?
but honestly, I care not. Um,
You've let
it,
go of.
it's not phonetically. It's spelled in a way that's not. It's not intuitive, which is fine. But I think I knew I had made it to a new kind of sphere in that I felt less scared of my place in the industry because things are fleeting. Things are, they're like it's everything's like a wave. Nothing. The good thing is, nothing stays static. Nothing is static, and it's just like that's always been something I've reminded myself of. I mean, I knew I had gotten to a new sphere when I was in Mamma Mia, and when Mamma Mia
Right.
was huge, and I was getting more opportunities from that. And over the years, the opportunities still were still there, but they're different, and they evolve as you evolve, and it all depending on the choices you make, but also the fact that you are evolving and getting older and are attracted to different things. So I'm lucky that I still have a lot of opportunities. And now it feels like I've solidified some kind of place in that people trust trust me as an actor and respect me as an actor. And although I didn't need it, it does feel great.
Well, and by now the body of work speaks for itself and the variety and you we'll get to that, but like coming off of Mean Girls, I know that was important to you right from the start. Like you were self-aware enough to know if I'm going to be around for a while, I can't be one thing and I have to immediately kind of show off my range.
And that's hard. Hollywood doesn't like make it very easy.
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't used to. I mean, for sure when I was starting out, things were very different dynamics between execs and younger actors or actors in general was just a little bit was a little different in a lot of ways. And I also was young and I just wanted to please people and get work.
Right. Right. Well, that's not unique in your industry for any young person, A, and any performer, B, and also tied to gender, not to stereotype, but there is that. I mean, that's kind of part and parcel. So to break out of that is like that's a mind shift. That's a major mind shift.
For sure. And it's taken me a long time to feel finally like I'm not I don't have to raise myself to anyone's expectations, exec wise or director wise or any powerful person in this industry. My work, right, it speaks for itself, but I also know what I want and what feels good and what doesn't, and I have boundaries now. How about that?
How
Only
about
did
that?
it for 10 years, but that's fine.
Okay, I'm going to be a little random at the start before we get into Long Bright River. I really enjoyed your appearance on Fallon. Well done. Did Cameron Crowe immediately come calling after you did your Joni Mitchell? Because he's doing that biopic. You know that.
So I hear.
If that doesn't get his attention, I mean,
He already uh I think he already knew that it's it, it's yeah, I don't know him. I don't know him, but I know a lot of people who do, and I know he's close with her, and I've known about this biopic for years, and I think it's amazing. I mean, we this is like the story we want to see, and Joni is so alive and thriving right now, and it's amazing. I mean, she's an icon, and so many people have learned her music. So many people know her, Another actress I worked with years ago. Oh my God, she's a spitting image of Joni, and she sings and plays beautifully. But I didn't know that there was an actual cast, and I definitely wasn't planning on being any part of it. So
Right.
I know he's been flooded, but um, but that's okay. There are a lot of us can do that. We can
Right.
all, if we have
Including
the
Meryl, apparently. Apparently, Meryl might be the
I
one to
didn't
do it.
even truly did not even know that until last week. But I had so much space during the pandemic to learn things I wanted to learn, and I did. And it was like it's just a brain exercise too. When you get older, you want to learn a new instrument, and there's a lot of inspiration for that in her, and specifically her Blue album. So any fan of Joni's knows that she wrote a lot of songs on the dulcimer, and so like I just had time to do so many different things. It was just a luxury, really. And then I put myself out there. I didn't plan on it, but I was prompted during the pre-interview for Fallon. You know, you learn to play the English horn for Long Bright River.
Right.
How was that? I was like, not my choice. Not my
Right.
ideal.
Chosen instrument, sure, but yeah.
But I'm good at picking up instruments. I'm very musical. I've started playing the piano when I was 7. She was like, "What are the instruments do you play?" And I told her the clarinet, which is why English horn came a little easier to me. And when I was 6, sorry, in 6th grade, and then I taught myself guitar from 18, and um and then the dulcimer during the pandemic, and the banjo for a short film I did for a friend of mine. I learned a song on the banjo, and that was fun. But like, just give me an instrument, and if there's some inspiration behind it, I'll totally
Yeah.
learn to play it. I just need some time because my brain is a little older than it used to be, and it is a language, but it's a language that's
Right.
in my body already, and it's so fun. But that was that moment for me was unprecedented. I'd never gotten so much attention so quickly for something that came so organically, and it felt really freeing to do it. But then there's this added pressure of like, Cameron Crowe's making a movie. It's like, yeah,
Right. That's not why I did it. That's not what it is. Yeah, yeah.
that
Yeah.
never even came as a thought. And I appreciate that. I think it's so cool. I mean, people have come out of the woodwork to say, wow, how beautiful. Um, but the journey of like learning it was extra special, and like sharing it was just like as like a cherry on top
Yeah.
of the whole experience. And I think I'm gonna practice a little more than I used to.
Something else in recent times I want to hit on. You did get I mentioned I was joking about the Red Room. David Lynch. You did get a chance to work with David Lynch.
Yeah, I can't believe that they were auditioning people without giving them any scripts. They were just talking to them in a room. And I remember going to the Valley in LA, 2015, and sitting in front of a camera and just being interviewed. And that's how he chose his actors. And I got the call on my sister's wedding day. And it was just one of the best calls that I've ever received from my agent, because as you come up in the business, any call from your agent could be like good or bad. And I remember getting the call and it being really good. And you don't have that many opportunities. Now I'm like, it's different. I don't audition as much, but auditioning for something or interviewing for something and then getting and it being David Lynch, somebody who's changed the lives of so many people, inspired the careers of so many filmmakers and actors and musicians. Like, he is the most charming individual, the most intuitive director, um, generous and sensitive. Oh my God, this guy is
His brain worked like nobody else's. He's singular. There's no comp for David Lynch, and that's why
absolutely.
it's such a loss. And I'll
Oh
just
God, yeah, it felt like a ripple, like just a
yeah,
giant crash. It
I
was
know.
it was a crazy, and it, yes, he had been sick and he was much older, but his brain never stopped, and it felt like such a loss for so many
I know.
people. Just you didn't need to know him to feel the loss. So man, we need to keep honoring him because there was nobody else. Yeah, he was an enigma.
Well, and in all sides, I'll just add, like, from my perspective too, like folks that like have, journalists or people that just love film. I mean, I I interviewed him a couple times. I interviewed him during the pandemic, and I'll never forget like him on the Zoom screen in front of me saying, "Hey, buddy!" Like it was like the greatest sound I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God, it's
The
chills just thinking
memory of
about it.
that will like stick with you because it's
Always,
specific. But also we have so much video footage of him
yeah,
telling us things,
yeah.
inspiring us, and like little anecdotes. And it's just what it's like he knew we would need it far
We have
after he
we have
was
weather
gone.
reports for the rest of time we could watch.
Yes, it's such a gift.
All right, so let's do some not heavy lifting because it's for a good cause. This series
Yeah.
is excellent. Congratulations on Long Bright River. Talk to
Thanks.
me a little bit about. Okay, so where were you at? Because obviously you've had some nice successes in television, notably Dropout in recent years. Were you looking for another series? How did this one kind of enter your world?
It was right after the strike, and I remember it maybe just being January, just after the new year, and I was kind of chilling at the farm in the dead of winter, and Catherine Pope, who produced The Dropout, texted me about Long Bright River. She produced this as well, and she's like, "I think I have something that you might like." And I listened to the book right away in 2 days, and it was great. It was unique because we were talking about the opioid epidemic in a completely new way, from a completely realistic perspective, from somebody who's clearly had lived experience and was writing from a like in a very sensitive way, in a very respectful way, and a responsible way. And I wanted to play cop. So everything about it kind of leapt out at me before I even read the scripts because the book was so good. I was just like, I think I'm in. And it's also Philly, and I know Philly. I didn't know Kensington though. And now I know Kensington. And I honestly, all the people I think who've read the book, I mean, I'd really like to take a survey. I wonder how many people feel like they've come away from the book kind of knowing Kensington because it's not an easy place to drive through. It's not an easy place to work or to live in a lot of ways, but because it's so marginalized, the community, because it's so many unhoused people, so many substance use um, disorders, so many sex workers who, live and work together. And it seems like a place I mean, it is a place that's been marginalized and feared and avoided. And the cops are always trying to clean it up, but it's actually like thriving in a lot of ways because they all protect each other, and the humanity within that is of something to take note of, like to remember that we are all so closely connected, more than we think. And it's one or two choices that separates me from them, so it's like
Right.
we try not to we try to take the otherness away, if that's even a way to say it. Or Liz did, and Nikki Toscano, who's the showrunner, creator of the show, she and Liz Moore, just who wrote the book, just sat for years writing the show to try to translate it into a TV show because we knew that it was people were so receptive to the book and loved the book so much. And I think it's because it felt like we were all kind of trying to find ways to connect and feel human and feel this connectedness in this community. And I think she just drew it out beautifully. But then again, it was like the responsibility of playing Mickey was not lost on me. Like the challenge of that was like something I was looking for. It's such a drawn out answer, but man, I'm always looking for something that's gonna kick me into a different drive.
Yeah. Well, when
And
you
I'm
said you said, I mean, you said like I wanted to play a cop. It's like, Amanda Seyfried is probably not on the list of like obvious. Get me that she's my cop. So is it about that? Like, can I
well,
imagine myself doing that? Can I imagine myself? How much can I push myself?
for the first time I could when I listened to that book, because she's a human being with a very specific set of circumstances. She's a single mother I know what it's like to be a mother. She works her ass off. She's balancing way too many things. She has a very dysfunctional relationship with her sister, who is suffering from addiction and is missing. And there's all these things that make her a human being. And she also happens to be a cop. And
Right.
that's when I realized I could tackle that.
Right.
That's when I could wrap
That's
my head
that's not the defining characteristic of who she is. It's part of
exactly.
her, but it's
And then, of course, the Amanda was like, I want to put on a cop uniform. I want the belt. I want the resin gun. And I want to walk. I want to feel what it feels like to wear that uniform because there's a lot of power in that, and people
yeah,
misuse the power all the time. They abuse it. They, God, they just don't. They don't care. And then there are so many cops who are working so hard to ensure that people are safe and feel safe and have space to evolve because that's what built so many people and cops and we make so many judgments about this community in Kensington especially and it's just like when did we stop giving them space to be human beings and
right.
to relate to each other so that's like another giant message in this I don't want to be away from my kids 5 nights a week unless I'm doing something that I think is teaching me and reminding a lot of people of like the very important aspects of being human and like the responsibility that we have to each other. Like, there's no point.
Plus, you also got to learn a new skill, and you got to recite previously on Long Bright River. That's a moment. You get to do kind of like the voiceover recap.
Well, that's exciting. I don't even remember doing it.
Unless it's an Amanda Seyfried
No, it probably
AI.
definitely me. Man, things get so fuzzy. It's so funny. It was sort of recent, but also it felt like it was 10 years ago
Yeah,
because it's all like being away, being out of my family dynamic and into this singular, like living in a tiny apartment and going to work and being at work for 15 hours a day. It's just like, it's a different zone. I measure time differently. It's just a different rhythm. And I'm used to it. I can adapt very quickly,
but
but
it must be so different. When you're 22, you can
yes.
disappear, and you can like you can be the most selfish whatever human being, and like turn off every other part of your life. And for those of us our ages now, it's like there's a lot more that's attached to us. And
Yeah. And priorities shift.
yeah,
And it's I like it. I've never felt more grounded, more able to go off and work and not lose myself because I have like a real stake in the ground up at the farm with my kids. I mean, not to say that they don't come to the city.
right.
Not to say that we haven't been at the American Girl doll store a lot recently. But we do, but there's just I'm there right now, you know. My soul lives up there. And then
Right.
I'm working and I'm like talking about things I love and it's great.
Yeah.
But that's what
Okay.
happens, which is nice.
All right. So since we have the luxury of a little time, we're going to do some Amanda Seyfried greatest hits, a little background since we've never had that chat. Talk to me about 11, 12-year-old Amanda. Are there Leonardo DiCaprio posters on every wall of the childhood bedroom? What's the obsession
Like one
level?
one wall Leo, one wall Abercrombie and Fitch models, um, and then one wall like random cutouts of dancers in like 17 magazine and what was the teen YM and there's another teen people or something.
That existed, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all different things, but Leo only inhabited like one wall and everything was very specific like everything had to be framed in a certain way. It was very specific.
Well, I mean, that was Romeo and Juliet followed immediately by Titanic. You were if you were not a Leo fan, you were not a sentient human being.
We weren't alive,
You
obviously.
were. Have you ever gone up for a Leo project or a Baz Luhrmann
Gatsby.
project?
Gatsby.
Gatsby. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
There were like a
sense.
bunch of us who ended up auditioning with Leo. On like we had Baz had like an amazing setup. It felt
Oh
like we
yeah,
were
he
really
does the full on. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
nice for director. Like people don't do that anymore. I think that the screen test, the chemistry read is so fun. It was so fun. And you know what? It, like every when I don't get a role, it never really hits me that hard because I never expect to get it. So if I do, I'm really happy. But if I don't, I'm like, I got pretty far. And also everything works out.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if you were like one away from a career, but you're doing good. You're doing quite well. It
Yeah,
worked out.
I feel like it totally worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what there is left to be said about Mean Girls, except I'm curious, like, how much of the love of that is now tied to the experience of making it versus what it's become and how it feels almost like it's bigger in the zeitgeist than maybe it was 20 years ago in a weird way.
I truly think the experience of making it has nothing to do with how well it did, for sure. I think the experience for me is very specific because I had never been in a movie before. I had never been on a set like that before. And I was working with people who had. So for me, it was just everything was new. Craft service table was new. The catered lunches was new. The costumes so specific and gorgeous and fun and everything about it was just new. The slate, the you name it. The relationships were new. The going out on the weekend and we all just got along so beautifully. And it was so like unadulterated fun. I was 17 and Lacey and I would like watch movies in her hotel room and listen to Dido in her trailer. Like it was so everybody was so nice. And like if nothing ever happened in that movie, it would never have had an impact on my memory of shooting that.
Right.
And then it becomes a forever moment, a moment locked in time, a timeless film, it like timeless humor.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Until the day you die, a
oh yeah,
14-year-old
yes.
girl will come up to you every day and quote you as if it just came out the day before.
I hope they quote it on my grave because that's an organic moment. That's an organic. It was a in many ways it was just a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Really, and people relate to it still, and it really it connected us, and it continues to, and I will always be excited to talk about it. Like today, I did some social stuff for Kelly Clarkson, and it was a based on one of the things that one of the famous quotes, and I love it. I will any day, honor that movie for what it did for me, just as a person.
And then you relate it to, subsequent experiences, which you've always been very candid and talking about sort of like, that period where in retrospect, or maybe even in the moment, it sounds like you knew you weren't being treated as well as you should. You were being objectified or not given the voice that you needed. I'm curious, like, I don't know, when did you start to feel like you had, I mean, we kind of talked about this at the very outset, but like when you felt like you could speak up, you could kind of like if something felt wrong, you could say it on set or in an audition room for that matter.
Oh my God, maybe too recent. It was too recent that I felt that. Um, yeah, I think it was a couple years, about 3 years ago. I was just so uncomfortable in certain dynamics, and I was a producer as well, and I was the leader of the speaking up party. Like I I felt like it was my job. I felt like we had just gotten through a giant, movement. Everything had really shifted in Hollywood for the better, but there's still people that hadn't gotten the memo. And there were a bunch of times that I had to just say what was actually happening and, not worrying about how people were going to be, how people were going to respond. It was just, this is wrong,
Right.
direct, and, or I'm uncomfortable, or this person's, or this is the moment where we say, no, we're not.
Right, because the easiest thing to do, and the reason why it's been perpetuated these practices is the easiest thing to do is kind of suck it up and like, okay, I'll take it. This shitty, but I can deal with it. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, that's
and that's the thing. Like it took me until I was, one of the leaders of the show,
right.
not just as an executive producer, but as the lead of the show. It's just like, this is my show. This is not going to be happening on my set. These people shouldn't fear going to work, and we're made to be uncomfortable at work. And we have zero tolerance policy, and I'm not going to tell somebody else that. I'm just going to say it. And you know what? It felt really empowering. I mean, since I have had moments where I've had to say to other people, I don't feel comfortable. Can you please pass this on? Because of the certain dynamics between certain people, and that's like more political.
Right.
And you have to try to find some way to be diplomatic in order to get things done. But it's based on, circumstances, and it changes all the time. But man, it took me a long time. And now I'm just like, I'm a mom. What would I do if it was my kid? Like, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Why does it take that long? Why can't I just, it doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm not gonna be resentful. I mean,
No.
regretful. I'm just, I much prefer the state I'm in now.
You gave a lot of Jennifer's Body fans a lot of hope
You
recently.
know,
You
I
know
did.
that. You got
Not
us
based
all very
on,
excited. It's
you
not
know,
based on it. So there's no like Diablo, Karen. Are you talking? Like
yeah,
what's
no,
happening?
so I said to my friend, she was like, my sister was like, is this Jennifer's Body? Is it really happening? And she was like, no. And I was like, she thought I was just making it up, but I was like, no, it really is. Like, I was texting with one of our producers about it because it sounded like it's true. Like, it sounded like I was like, oh yeah, Jennifer's Body is happening too. Me, Mamma Mia, Jennifer's Body. But it really, no, really, it's like, it's something that has been in the works for a while. And I don't know when schedules will align, but it's not something that is, it's not based on nothing. It's based on a lot of appreciation for the movie and wanting to get the band back together. And I respect that because it was really fun too. That experience was so fun.
So how
It was
much of the band are we talking about? Is
all of
is
it.
Megan, Diablo, Karen?
Better be. I don't know for
The
sure.
package deal? Yeah.
Better be a package deal. I don't know. It's not like we're
That's
trying
very
to
exciting.
recreate
No,
anything, but it's like,
yeah,
wouldn't it be?
it would be amazing. Be amazing.
It's like it
Um,
was just a very good experience, and it's always nice to enhance it,
yeah.
years later.
I mean, and as you know, that was one that like kind of I think the marketing kind of
Oh yeah,
confused people. It
fell
was
off.
just
Sure.
yeah, yeah. I feel like I was we covered it to the nth degree at MTV, but we probably covered it in the wrong way. But
No, you didn't.
apologies.
It was very musical. It was very musical. I remember, didn't some 41 or somebody come to the premiere?
Wouldn't surprise me.
I was like, oh my God. I forget what, never mind. I don't know. I don't know who it was, but I remember the premiere very well, and it was so fun.
So wait, speaking of Megan and speaking of auditions, I did want to run through, and it seems like you're cool with talking about the things that almost happened. Did you actually go up for Transformers? Did you go for Megan Fox's role in Transformers? No, that's a lie.
I don't
Okay.
think, no, I don't think I even knew about it.
Okay.
I don't know what year that was. It's like, it all depends on what year it was, and then I can tell you if I
That would
ever
have been
went.
like 2007, I want to say 2006, 7, something
No,
like
definitely not.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've talked about Guardians and Gamora. I'm curious, like, did you know from the second you walked in the room that this was not for you, or was it only through kind of the process, like as it sunk in, like this,
As
I
it
can't,
sunk in,
yeah,
because I was very, um, I was really scared of the idea of being stuck and painted a different color, because of the amount of time that the X-Men people had been, because I was working out with the same trainer that trained a bunch of people who were doing X-Men.
Oh,
And
I remember Jennifer's talking to me after each film, that makeup process she talked a lot about.
so that's literally,
Yeah.
I said to my agents, I was like, okay, um, it was a really giant opportunity. I had just met James, like in person. It was wonderful. He's wonderful. Um, Apparently someone said that he didn't remember it or wasn't true. And I was like, oh,
Wait a second.
I was like, it's definitely true. And I was definitely got the offer for it. And I definitely milled over it for like
Yeah.
a couple days. But I don't know. I I didn't want to live in London for 6 months out of the year for whatever reason. There was another movie that I really wanted to do with Seth MacFarlane called A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Right.
It felt like a really good opportunity. I didn't want to be blue, but let's also remember being a part of a Marvel movie, the first Marvel movie that bombs, ain't good for your career.
Right.
I thought that because this was about a talking tree and a talking raccoon, that it was going to be Marvel's first bomb and that Chris Pratt and I would never work again. Well, I was wrong. I was
But that
wrong.
logic tracks. That line of thinking is not insane.
I was just being smart,
Yes.
not brave. And you know what? James Gunn is a genius and he's fun and he's a wonderful filmmaker and he can actually make anything work. But I was way too scared. I was at a precarious moment in my career and I didn't want to suffer for the work. And I
Right.
think sitting there for 4.5 hours every morning and every night just seemed like it wasn't going to be fun. I just didn't want to do it because I had done some green screen stuff and it wasn't my bet and my
Right.
cup of tea. And I don't regret any decision that I made. I made it for myself in the moment that I made it. It was good for me then and it's good for me now. And I also think the people that make, Zoe and Chris and everybody who's part of that movie are having the best time. It worked for them. And I love that. And I love that I was able to, stay with my gut.
The only other one in that realm I want to mention, I mean, I think of Zack Snyder in that world, and I know you were going to do Sucker Punch. That didn't
Yes,
that was a big love thing, as I recall, right? That was
power. Yes, it was big love. It was big love.
the gift and the curse of an ongoing series. I know, yes. But
But
then
my heart was at big love. My heart was at big love. And also, I will say now, I hate stunts, so I might have been miserable in that. I love
that would have been intense,
the girls. I wanted that relationship with them. I wanted to like go to camp with them.
right? Did did he also talk to you about Lois Lane in Superman? Did I read that right? No, okay, that's not true.
When did Superman happen?
When Zach did Man of Steel,
Henry Cavill?
yeah,
Who played Lois Lane?
Amy Adams. You've lived a lot of life if you can't
All
remember.
right, there's a lot of Man of Steels. Let's just be fair.
There are a lot of Supermen, a lot of Spider-Men.
I'm sure there's another Superman just around the corner.
There is a James Gunn. He did it.
I actually saw that trailer and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that. And I didn't know it was James Gunn.
I love it. Well, that's James Gunn. That's the James Gunn for you.
Guys, that's gonna fly.
Your musical track record is very impressive. You're basically three for three for musicals. Les Mis and the two Mamma Mia films. Like you've made a gajillion dollars for Universal.
I mean, I
Uh,
personally haven't, but
well, you're the
yeah,
star of two of those and a very key factor in the third.
that's true.
And you're doing a much different kind of one. You did a much different kind of one. I'm a big Brutalist fan, and I know Mona and Brady's next baby is
Yeah.
I would imagine is gonna be pretty special. What can we look forward to in a different kind of a musical, I would say, I would anticipate.
In terms of like finding new experiences and new characters, this one takes the cake. It's Mona's passion project for sure. And I love how they work. I worked with her before as a director. She directed The Crowded Room and she directed episode 4 of Long Bright River.
Oh, nice. Okay.
No, it was great. And man, I think she's really special. And I love working with her. I love the way she communicates with me. I love how honest I can be with her. She's like a sister in a lot of ways. Like I just posted a video the other day. Well, it was her birthday, and I was just going back through the shooting of Anne Lee in Budapest, and it's just she was taking my hair out with my makeup artist, like just after a long day's work, and she was covered in mud, and it was grueling. It was a grueling shoot, but it was also unbelievably indulgent for me. I was, the clothes came off, the shields came off. There was in no way could I have even felt a slight bit of embarrassment because I had to go full in and I was dancing and singing and um giving birth. Like it was without saying too much, it's an experience that no one's ever gotten because Mona's never done this before, and she created this whole world, and I'm really lucky to have been able to like really stretch for
Yeah.
this really different challenge than Long Bright River, but still as challenging. And it's this Amelia Perez, the genre is like bring back the musical. I'm just like, this is perfect timing for Anne Lee because people are receptive to it.
Yeah.
They've never seen anything like it. Most people don't know much about Anne Lee. I sure didn't. But she's the leader of the Shaker movement, and the Shaker movement, they didn't have children. There were no children. You had to be celibate. Let's talk about that, you know?
I have a feeling we will much of the last quarter of the year. Yeah, I mean, and talking about one door closing, another opening. I mean, honestly, and I know Wicked was something you really wanted. You were open about that, but like you do Wicked, maybe Anne Lee doesn't happen. Like I don't know. I don't know if that both of those make sense.
I think everything worked out.
Yeah,
I think I was just such a fan. I really did. I mean, I credit Wicked for getting me for being so committed to my vocal technique with my voice coach, Liz Kaplan. I mean, I knew that movie was happening because Mamma Mia ended up taking Wicked's slot. It's all Universal. So Mamma Mia 2 ended up happening. They were trying to make both movies and they were just scheduling them because they're all
right.
shot in London and a lot of the same people, I imagine. And so when Mamma Mia 2 happened, I was like, oh, Wicked's gonna get pushed. This might work for me, timing wise. So I knew Wicked was coming, so I was able to really prepare. And I'm telling you, I've never felt that solid in my voice than I did at the auditions. And that's kind of what I got out of it. I do, again, think everything happens for a reason. I mean,
Right.
that's beautiful. We listen to Defying Gravity every day.
I'm glad
And
it's not ruined for you. I'm glad it's still a happy thing.
oh my God, no. It's funny though, like I also got to sing with Cynthia, and like that was a moment in itself.
I'm sure. Okay, they're wrapping me up. I promise. This is the last. This is the rapid fire. This is
The
how we end.
vibration of that woman's voice.
Oh, next level. Uh, okay. Happy, sad, confused, profoundly random questions. This is rapid fire because I know you got to
I
run.
like
Here,
it.
here we
No,
go.
it's
Dogs or cats?
dogs.
I need to see Finn one of these days in person. What do you collect?
Yarn.
Do you have a favorite video game of all time? Ever play a game?
Oh, uh, Sonic the Hedgehog.
What's the wallpaper on your phone?
My three kids. Finn.
Last a last actor you were mistaken for?
Oh, it wasn't Dakota Fanning this time. It was something else, someone else, but Dakota Fanning.
Okay. What's the worst note a director has ever given you?
Be bigger.
And in honor of happy, sad, confused, an actor who makes you happy, always you see them on screen, you're happier.
Ooh, okay. An actor who makes me happy on screen. Um, sh- uh, Goldie Hawn.
Good one. Good. Movie that makes you sad.
Fried green tomatoes.
And finally, most importantly, a food that makes you confused. You don't get it.
A food that makes me confused.
Yeah.
Um,
There's our screen grab, by the way.
Good. How about blue cheese?
What kind of cheese?
Blue?
Blue cheese. Okay, got it. I got you.
Is
Okay,
that true?
ending up.
For you too?
No, I do like blue cheese.
But
Sorry.
why?
I like the strong. I like the fragrance, the odor, the
Oh,
strength. Yeah, I like the
yeah.
bold stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Mold. The
I'm a bold
mold.
man. The
Oh,
mold?
mold.
Yeah, I like eating mold. That's my thing.
That's what it is.
Don't ruin this for me, Amanda.
No, why are
I
you
know
in
it. No,
it's
I'm
mold?
not. I can. I know it is, but I compartmentalize.
Ah, it would be like eating poop for me. I just don't get it.
To be continued. Next podcast. Okay, we'll get into this. It's really good to see you. Hopefully next time in person. Congratulations, Long Bright River. It's on Peacock. You know, you watch Southern Charm and then go right into Long Bright River. It's a perfect double feature on Peacock. Yeah, I'm
Southern
kidding.
Charm.
I think it is, isn't all those Bravo reality? No.
Oh, Peacock bought Bravo. Where's Disney?
It's good to
No,
see
I
you.
have Paramount Plus. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sorry, I'm talking about all. No, it's difficult, but I know that Peacock is easy.
It is easy. No
I have
excuses, folks. Yeah. All right. It's good to see you as always. Thank you.
you later.
Bye.
And so ends another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Remember to review, rate, and subscribe to this show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm a big podcast person. I'm Daisy Ridley, and I definitely wasn't pressured to do this by Josh.